here's your host, Victor Mara.
Alright, this is the Goodfellas Report. I'm your host, Victor Morrow, and my co-host, Rashad Mitchell. And this is a new show. It's going to be coming on every Tuesday night, 8:30 Eastern Time. That's when the podcast will be up. You can check out Goodfellasreport.com. And, check out all the latest info, things that we're talking about, blogging about. Also, check out Rashad Mitchell's show. And we're gonna keep this thing rolling. I was looking at I was looking at YouTube videos the other day, and I ran across Willie D, the rapper from the Ghetto Boys, and he has his new video out. I don't know if people have seen it. Maybe I'm late. I don't know. But anyway, he basically called out Charles Barkley and Stacy Dash. Who else did he call out? Charles Barkley, Stacy Dash, and Raven Simone, Stephen A. Smith, and called them coons. And he had actors portraying them in the video, and it was, newer cats, younger cats probably won't dig the video, or they might, it's not one of them. It's not a new style song, so younger cats probably won't get it. It's straightforward. I call it a straightforward approach, where you diss somebody straightforward. These young dudes, this new generation, everything got to be cute. They do all this talking out of their nose and barely talking, and they won't even speak up when they rap. They do like this mumble rap. They won't even say any damn thing, let alone actually say somebody's name. Whereas Willie D is old school, and he went straight into it with that old school approach where you just go directly at the person that you're dissing. And there ain't no subliminals. You ain't got to try to guess who he's talking about and none of that. But I just, it was a breath of fresh air. I thought it was cool that he called these people out for cooning. Stacy Dash especially. I don't know what the hell's wrong with that girl, man, but that's kind of sad that she's in that situation, that she is the way she is over there at Fox News. She's probably getting tossed up, ran through. She's pretty much she's a Fox News whore. That's pretty much what she is. And me and Rashad spoke about that some time ago. It was one of our first shows that we did about the boycott of the Oscars, and then she came out and made fun of Black History Month and all that. So, but anyway, what do you think about? I don't know. Did you see the video, Rashad?
I saw it on the website, our website. No, I saw it. Where you posted up on Goodfellas Report.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I did post it up on Goodfellas Report. Yeah, I sure did. Yeah. Goodfellasreport.com.
I didn't really take into it, but yeah, I understand what Willie D is saying. But I think when you look at Stephen A. Smith, I think he does a great job in what he analyzes. It's just sometimes he could be controversial. He could be a guy that say things that might get him in trouble. But I don't think he should have criticized him. Charles Barkley, he says things that also draw attention to himself, and he's going to bring shock value Willie D, you know, he's a guy, you know, from the Ghetto Boys, obviously, but what was the point in, like, criticizing these people? Is he just doing it just to draw attention to himself? Because when you think of the Ghetto Boys, you go back to the 90s.
Right.
So that's when they was in their heyday. Like Willie D, you don't even hear that much from this guy, or Scarface, or Bushwick Bill. I mean, all of a sudden he's coming out saying something. Sometimes people just come out just to draw attention to themselves, or whatever it is, they just want to know, create something, some controversy, just to create something, you know, have us talk about it. So, to me, I don't think it's much of a big deal. I think Stephen A. Smith does a great job on First Take, as far as Stacy Dash, stuff that she said about, you know, there shouldn't be a Black history, which is foolish, because every month is Black history. You know, every day is Black history. Everything, I mean, that's definitely important. You know, why she should, you know, say something like that is not right. But it is what it is. I just think that Willie D, you know, I don't think he should criticize Stephen A. Smith. I think Stephen A. Smith does a great job. To me, I don't think why he would call him a coon. I don't understand it. You know, I think sometimes, you know, Stephen A. can be objective on both sides. I mean, sometimes he might, you know, yeah, he still support, like, the Black athletes and, like, you know, Black coaches, you know, like, they should get more opportunities or stuff like that, you know. Sometimes he can, you know, get into that a little bit in terms of race. But I think he does a great job. I mean, I don't think he should be called a coon. I don't think the name calling is kind of childish. I don't think it's good to slander somebody, but that's him. But I just think that, you know, Willie D, I watch the words that he says about people that look like him, you know, calling somebody a coon. I don't think that's, you know, appropriate.
Was now I look at it like the Charles Barkley thing. And you know what he got on Charles Barkley for, right? He got on Charles Barkley because supposedly, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but supposedly he said that Charles Barkley said that slavery wasn't that bad because the slaves had a what did he say? The slaves had a home and food, so it wasn't that bad.
That's crazy. Can't say stuff like that. That's similar to Ray Lewis. Man, with Ray Lewis, he said it was about togetherness. And he did that video and talk about, you know.
To explain to people about that Ray Lewis thing. What happened with Ray Lewis?
No, remember when I talked to you about that video?
Yeah, explain it, because everybody hasn't seen it. So tell them what happened.
Yeah, Ray Lewis did a Facebook rant. He did a video talking about the violence in Chicago and a lot of killings, and he invoked slavery as being about togetherness. You know, just take it back to slavery when it was about togetherness. And that's foolish, because slavery is about free labor and people being chained and whipped and oppression. So there's nothing positive at all about slavery.
Well, that's pretty, like you said, that's pretty much what I don't know. I didn't hear the Barkley comment, but I did hear Willie D. Willie D. addressed it. So I didn't hear the Barkley comments myself. So I don't know. But if Barkley did say that, that's crazy. Barkley's probably the one that's really trying to draw attention to himself, because he can't be serious. You know what I mean? Like, if he did say that slavery was a good, or wasn't that bad, he can't be serious. You know what I mean? Like, dude had to have just been, I don't know, he had to have just been trying to say something for shock value, because he'd get punched in the face just for, I don't know, man. That's crazy. But if he did say that and he meant it, if he meant that from his heart, he's an ultimate coon, straight up, and he deserved to be called a coon. Like I said, we already addressed Stacy Dash. As far as Stephen A. Smith is concerned, I think he called Stephen A. coon for taking the side of those that come against certain black athletes. Say that in nicer terms. And I think that's what that was all about. Like, I think he was more or less attacking Stephen A's personality and not one incident where he was attacking Barkley. You know what I mean? I can't remember why he was attacking Raven Simone, but I know she is nuts. That chick is crazy. I'm sorry, bro. But she has said some off the wall stuff herself, you know. He got on her because she said she wouldn't hire someone because of their name. Like there was a guy with a name that sounded like an African name.
Yeah.
And she said I wouldn't hire him just based off of his name alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, Raven Simone is interesting because I think she said one time that she wasn't really black or something like that.
Well, there you go. So Willie D is right. they are coons. You know what I mean? They do what coons do, so they're coons. That's
I don't think the name calling is good enough, to say that. I mean, again, people can disagree with people's point of views. Again, Charles Barkley said that slavery was good, man. You can't say stuff like that, man. There was nothing good about slavery back in the day. So why glorify something that was awful, horrible? If he truly said that, Charles Barkley.
Again, I believe that, listen, you know what happens sometimes when certain people get into those high positions, they forget who they are, man.
Mm-hmm.
They forget who they are, and when you forget who you are, it's easier to criticize people. You know what I mean? Because you don't see yourself in it no more. You see it as, oh, well, they were okay. You don't see yourself. You don't see the struggle anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to be like, oh, they weren't that bad. They had food, shelter, right? Because he no longer sees himself in that light. He's Charles Barkley. He sees himself as a millionaire, Charles Barkley. So he's lost himself, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So yeah, it was that real. I said I had to bring that on a show this week. Definitely had to address that. That was mandatory. But Willie D is calling them out, and you could be absolutely right. Maybe Willie D is doing it to draw attention to himself, but at the same time, I commend them for calling them out, man, because they needed to be called out. And anybody that's doing that needs to be called out. You know what I mean? And, this is where me and you differ. We have differences of opinion, and that's the reason why, I do the show with you, because I don't want to it always be about my opinion. But I'm with the name calling. You know what I mean? Like you said, I hear where you coming from. Like, the name calling is not cool. And that's because you have a higher moral. Your morals are better than mine. You know what I mean? But me, I'm all about the name calling. Like, them dudes is coons. All of them. Dash, Simone, Barkley. I don't really get on Stephen A. Smith like that, but the rest of them, I think they're just the biggest coons you ever see, man. And I get tired of people like that. I get tired of people like that representing us, man. And I feel the same way about Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, man. I get tired of it, They always standing in the forefront. It seems like they the coons that always get the microphone in front of their face somehow. They're always in position to say something negative towards us. And in Texas, they're trying to change the history books to say that the slaves weren't actual slaves. They were actually just workers. You know that, right? Have you heard that?
Yeah, what they did is, pickpocketing, and they did a lot of, free labor, but at the same time, they were slavery. That's the reality.
No. I know that, but what I'm saying in Texas, they're trying to change the books.
Yeah.
for kids, like the history books.
Okay.
To say that those slaves weren't really, they weren't really slaves, they were just workers.
I never heard about that. That's crazy. What they trying to do is trying to, cover up what it really was back then. It's try to make it like, with Buck, if he said what he said, to make it sound like it was good that they was doing going through what they was going through.
Yeah,
so,
because
that's not right. You can't do that.
Well, history is always told by the victor, man. Whenever someone wins, they tell the story the way they want to tell it, and it's called his story.
That's right.
Yeah, man. So anyway, we let off with that. Let me see. What should we get into straight up? Go ahead. You were talking about you were telling me about the Catholic priest that got caught up with the sexual assault charges.
No, they weren't. They weren't priests. They were two pastors in Tennessee.
Okay.
They were caught up in this operation sting called prostitution. Yeah. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says that two pastors were arrested. 32 were charged for sex trafficking and undercover operation. These two pastors were Zubin Parak and Jason Kennedy. They were under this operation called Operation Someone Like Me. They got caught up. It's the fifth operation of its kind in the state, where between the TBI and partner agencies to help identify, investigate, and prosecute trafficking and rescue victims.
So they had it was like a prostitution ring.
Yeah, something like that, but it's more to this. They were saying that there was a 3-day operation by special agents with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and detectives with the Knoxville Police Department to combat human trafficking in Knoxville. They resulted in the arrest of 32 men and women on prostitution and human trafficking related charges. It says 2 of the men that were included were in a children's minister. They responded to ask what they thought were girls under the age of 18. And, it's like, purchase illicit sex for a juvenile, trafficking, just, stuff like that. They got caught up in stuff like that. And, they got caught. More than 300 contacts were made to those ads. And one ad, the agents posed as a juvenile girl. That ad received more than 2 dozen contacts. And, human trafficking is big. I mean, it's a major, serious thing. And, it's good that they caught the people, including these 2 ministers.
So the FBI ran a sting, or they ran an operation, and they put in these ads. Is that what you're saying? And these were underage girls, mainly.
Oh no, it's dealing with, like I said, human trafficking and prostitution. Like
So it was underage boys and girls, right? Supposedly that they were. Yeah. These were fake ads, though, right?
Yeah, they posted up advertising ads, and
So what idiot is going to respond to that, though?
Yeah, undercover agents. The other undercover agents posted ads on Backpage.com. Like I said, more than 300 contacts were made to those ads, and like I said, one ad the agents posed as a juvenile girl, and that ad received more than 2 dozen contacts.
No, okay. Now hold on a second. I want to say this right quick, because I get a lot of negative comments, right? And let me say this. See, this is what I'm talking about. All you people that get on me because I talk about Birdman and, raping Lil Wayne and this, that, and the third. Like, I know y'all think that's entertainment and y'all think that's funny, but I don't think it's funny. Because I honestly believe Birdman raped Lil Wayne. Okay? And Birdman is a pedophile. He's a pedophile, just like these people that got caught up are pedophiles, and there's nothing funny about it. You know what I mean? And I feel like he belongs in the same jail as these people. So, now how many people did they arrest? All of them?
I'll repeat that again.
Did they arrest all of them?
Yeah, they arrested the 32 people. It was 32 people. They were charged for what was going on, what was for the operation. So yeah, they had like, well, as a matter of fact, the operation Someone Like Me began in May 2015. So there had been 98 arrests and citations, and then
98.
Knoxville, it was 32 individuals that were arrested recently. This is 32 arrested charged for sex trafficking in the undercover operation.
Wow. Well, there you go. Wow.
Yeah, the other one I wanted to into was the Jamal Bryant. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy, Jamal Bryant. He's a pastor.
Okay.
Jamal
Go ahead.
Bryant, yeah, from Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah. He's a guy that's accused of being a father to a child that he had by this woman. She's coming out saying that he's the father. Her name's Latoya Shaunti Oldham. She provided evidence that she claims that Bryant is the father of the baby. He's a 10-month-old baby, and they had a relationship since I think last year, and he wanted her to have an abortion, but she refused to have the abortion, and she ended up having a baby last year in July. So, and also this lady, obviously she's doing something bad too, because she was paid by a Bishop Greg Davis, for a year for sexual favors. So this lady has a history of, being involved with preachers, like people in the church. So, yeah, that's the one I want to talk about, want to discuss, because this guy, he has a history of having affairs with other women. He had 6 kids. I think he had a couple by, a previous relationship, and also, he cheating on the wife that he was married to, and had all these affairs. So this guy is nothing new. He's not a stranger to like having affairs with other women, which is not good. He's a pastor. He's a preacher. You cannot be doing stuff like this and expect it to be okay. Now he has not denied. He just said that he's flawed with character, and God's not through with him yet. Stuff like that. So he has not, denied it that he's the child. But according to the DNA paternity test, it shows that he's the father. And that's the story on that.
Well, I mean, that's nothing. That's nothing new. Inside. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're right. It's nothing new.
Yeah, I mean, they're going on inside these churches. That's nothing new. That goes on. That's a discussion that I guess is based on your faith and religion. You know what I'm saying? But the only thing that gets me is that the preachers will point the finger at everybody else, talk about how unholy they are, but then they'll do something like that, Which me, like I'll tell you, you're gonna find this strange, but my faith, you can have more than one wife. And my faith, because there ain't nothing in the scripture say you can't. Matter of fact, Jacob had 4 wives. All the prophets, for the most part, had multiple wives. So I'm, it's a little different for me coming from my perspective. Now, where I would get on him for is I'm pretty sure that he's the same person that's pointing the finger at someone else and told them they were wrong for having other women or, having a child out of, without being married and this, that, and the third, every Sunday. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure he's that same dude, but the hypocritical part is that now he's caught up in the same thing, and you know, but again, like I said, you know, my faith is different. So for me, it's like not a big deal that he had another woman. My thing is that I know that he's probably pointing the finger at someone else and telling them they're wrong for doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like I said, this guy has a history. He's had other affairs with other women, so this is nothing new. But the thing I don't like about it is that the lady said that, you know, Jamal Bryant wanted her to have an abortion. You know, you want to kill the baby.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
That's not good. That's bad. That's bad.
And that's crazy. And he's supposed to be a man of the Lord too. You know, that's crazy.
It hurts because it just goes to staying on the church, because it's not surprising. It goes to show you. That's why when I sent you the text messages, all these pastors lacking integrity. We don't know how these pastors are living their lives. We don't have a clue how these people live, no matter what titles they have in the church. We don't know how they're living in private. They can preach all they want to, say all the right things, but when they go home and their private life is wicked, that you're showing that you're not a man of God.
Yeah.
You're showing yourself that you're not genuine. And what you're doing that in front of people, but in private, you're not walking the walk. This is a walk that you gotta live. It's not about preaching. You gotta practice what you preach. And obviously he's not doing that. I'm not casting no aspersions on this guy, but I was tired of, you know, every time I turn around, this guy is involved in some type of affair. This is nothing new. Like, this guy, you know, impregnated somebody else. I think I saw something on Instagram where the guy that was interviewing the lady about the situation said that, you know, people was commenting on the situation, and they were saying that Mike said that they said that this is the third child that Jamal Bryant, that the person is referring to, try to keep secret. He has a teenage daughter with the educator or principal at Maryland that he admitted to the church about 8 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So this guy has done this before.
But you know what, man? Let me say something, bro. You know, church, and again, like I said, not to knock people's faith. You know, my faith is very unique. It's very different. You know, my beliefs are different from a lot of people, most people on this earth. But a lot of times what happens with these preachers is, and the reason why I'm not surprised, and I'm not, you know, I'm just like, I pretty much figured when a man gets put into this position as pastor, people, whether they admit it or not, are looking at that preacher like he's some kind of deity almost. Like, not that he's God, but he's something close to it. Right? And they shouldn't. And what happens is women, I mean, let's just be frank. Let's be honest. Women are attracted to men in power. Men in powerful positions. Like Tony Montana said, you get the money, you get the power, then you get the woman. You know? And that's just true. You know, it's just and what happens, you can sit here and say, you know, I'm not dealing with this and I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with this woman over here. But these women are coming after these preachers. They're attracted, and they could already have a husband, but they are attracted to these men in power. And a preacher, a pastor, especially if it's a nice big church, man, women love that. It's something about women and men with power. They love. It's, you know what it is? Women like men that they can respect, and they respect power. They respect position, even if it's not money necessarily. Sometimes just the power and the position that they're in. And when a woman see this man got all these people coming to him, asking him questions, you know, Pastor, what should I do about this? Pastor, what should I do about that? It does something to women, man. And they flock to him. You know what I'm saying? That's how these dudes get caught up. The bad part about it, like I said, my belief is that, man has always been able to have multiple wives. It's just that religion cut it off at a certain point. And it said no, only one. And now that's a deeper conversation. But the thing is that when you start talking about abortion, and you're supposed to be a man that's standing for God and standing for the Bible, that's wicked, man. That is flat out, point blank, wicked. And I can't support that at all. And another thing I can't support is hypocrisy. Because because I guarantee you, like I said, that same dude that stood up on the pulpit and told someone else they were wrong for sleeping with someone else. You know what I mean? Now he's doing it. You know what I mean?
God practice what you preach. I want to give an example, like what you just said with money and power. Look at Jay-Z. Jay-Z is not the best looking guy in the world, but Beyonce got involved with him.
And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And here's the deep thing about Jay-Z and Beyonce is that Beyonce got her own money and she still went to him. Mm-hmm. She didn't even need a Jay-Z in her life.
Again, you're absolutely right. Women are attracted to men who have power, money, and fame. If you don't have that, then they're also good looks as well. But if you don't have the other stuff, they're not going to come around. But which is fine with me. I'm not concerned about that. I wouldn't want to be in Jay-Z's shoes. I don't mind having his money, but I wouldn't want to be there with different women coming at me. And I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of Jamal Bryant right now. What he's going through is a lot of headaches because he got 6 kids, and now this is going to be his 7th.
You talking about that guy, the preacher?
Yeah, he got 6 children, and now this could be his 7th.
But see,
that's not good at all.
And then the thing is that what's really deep about that is he's been exposed, but guess what? People going right back to his church.
Yeah, because of who he is.
Yeah, because people don't care. People of this world are hypocrites, man. People of this world are not about truth, man. People don't care about truth. And especially nowadays in today's generation, man, if something get printed up in an article, once they see a title, they run with the title and they don't even care about what really happened. They do not care. We're living in a world where Twitter is it. Meaning, you got a few words in there and that's it. They do not look at the whole picture. They don't have discussions. They don't care about the truth of the matter, about getting to the bottom of the matter, the heart of the matter, the truth of the matter. They don't care. The only thing people want is a quick story. Okay, and then they run with it. Well, it's the same thing with this situation. This preacher, I guarantee you, this pastor, I guarantee you, they're going to be on him for a couple of months. He going to say the Lord forgave me, brush it under the rug, and the people going to come right back to his church. It's like they did Eddie Long.
Yeah, but yeah, right. And the thing is, but at the same time, he can say that, but the proof is going to come in his private life. He's still doing his stuff on the PL. He's still doing the same thing. Then the next affair is going to come up.
Yeah.
The next one. So that's what I'm trying to say is like, do these pastors have integrity? Do they truly live for the Lord when nobody's watching? The answer is
no.
No.
Do you know what T.D. Jakes said? T.D. Jakes said, I don't know if you're a fan of T.D. Jakes or not. T.D. Jakes said, so I don't mean to be offensive, but he said that, if I want to make sure I quote him right, he said that, religion is a hustle and Jesus is the product.
Well, I never heard him say that. Never heard that. I'm familiar with T.D. Jakes, but never heard him say, heard that before.
Well, that's what I'm saying, brother. I mean, and not to get too deep into it, but a lot of these pastors have been paid off, man. They're how do I say this? The politically correct way. They've been paid off because they're not really going to teach the Bible the right way. They teach it according to what's going to get people in there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they're going to teach it according.
Prosperity gospel.
Yeah. But listen, let's be honest. You know, church is mainly women and kids.
Yeah, you know what? You hit it right on the head.
So who they gonna who they gonna appeal to? Who they gonna appeal to? The women and the kids.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you're absolutely right. There's a lot of more women in the church and kids in the church than the men. But the thing is, I mean, there's men that love God, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, but you know what? You know what, man? You said it earlier. Love of God is something that that you live with. You know what I mean? Again, like I said before, it's like you gotta remember, like, all right, let's say, all right, we turned it into the biblical show today, so fine, let's go with it, right? Okay, the man they call Christ, let's see, did you ever really read about him, right, really sitting down in the church? No, he was always out and about, going from this place to that place, right? Teaching, right? And when you get to his disciples, it was the same thing. So you gotta have that understanding that when it comes to the church, who are they trying to appeal to? They're trying to appeal to the women and the children, man. They know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what T.D. Jakes and all these guys, Creflo Dollar. You hear about him wanting he wanted to raise, what was it, $6 million?
Yeah, for the private jet.
Yeah, man. Come on, I mean, the dude come flat out and say, this is what I'm trying to do. He not even trying to say, listen, I'm trying to help y'all. I'm trying to be the best minister I can be. Nah, he like, look, what y'all got on my jet?
Crazy.
See?
Yeah, but the thing is that's fascinating is that why is that? Like, why is there so many women in the church than the men? Now, again, just because there's more women in the church doesn't mean that the women are living right.
Oh, right. Oh, no. We know that.
Yeah, 100%. It's not 100%. There's a lot of women that are hypocritical in their ways. They might be worse than the men. The same, people sleep on the men. Oh, we don't care about God. We don't care about church. It's women that love God and they love to come to church. They live for God.
Yeah.
So they're not getting caught up in no foolishness.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should go. You should not be sleeping around. Again, I wouldn't trade places with Jamal Brown. I don't care how big he is. I don't care how many children he has.
Get him.
I wouldn't trade places with that guy.
Get him.
He's living hypocritical.
Get him. And see, this is the angriest. Listen, I've been doing a couple of shows with Rashad, and this is the angriest I've ever heard because this touched the nerve. You know what I'm saying? And I feel him because it's a lot of this. The thing that get on me, that's getting me, is that I hate the fact that a lot of these preachers exploit women, our women, I should say, especially because what they do is they always cater to them, and they always want to have what you would call councils, and they, a lot. You know what some of these preachers do? Some of these pastors, when they see a woman that they like, they tell them, sister, come talk to me if you having marital problems, if you're having problems with your marriage. The whole time they be plotting to break their marriage up. Because the women gonna do it. They're gonna come. Well, they'll come to the pastor and say, "Well, the pastor told me this," and they go back home and tell their husband, well, the pastor said this, pastor said that. Pastor be trying to break their marriage up because the pastor trying to get at the woman. That's it happens, man. It happens. Like women respect men in power. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, I'm fascinated with that. Why is it that women? There's so many women going to churches all the time. It's more of them. I mean, okay, it's because they attract to the power. You said that it's the power and the way they speak, and things that they say, or because of what they look like.
I can answer that question. The reason why there's more women in churches is simple. Church is a place where, like, I don't go to church. Like I'm more like I said, my faith is different. You know what I mean? I socialize with my brothers that are in the same belief as me. But right quick, let me just say this, is that the reason why there's more women and children in the church than there are men is because church is a place of feel good. Like, when you going through hard times, whatever, you're going through a rough time, people run to the church. You know what I mean? And church is another reason, like, women fit in church. Think about it. Most of the time, the pastor is a man. Most churches, the pastor's a man, and women are looking for like that fatherly like figure.
Yeah, that's right.
And so they flock to that. They grasp on to that father like figure, even if they already have a father. Just the fact that they have that man that they can come to and talk to about whatever problem, whatever issue, and they feel comfortable, like they feel protected. You know what I mean? And then there's somewhere where they can bring their kids, and it's also a place where it's also an excuse to get dressed up. You know, women like to dress up too. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, because if you look at, there's a church around my neighborhood, brother, and I'm telling you, the women come out that church, the outfits they be having on, I'll be like, whoo, you know what I'm saying?
That's not good because you're trying to like make a man love after them.
Hey, but I mean, a man's supposed to be attracted to a woman. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that there needs to be more honesty about things, and I think that you run into situations like this, and I know you. I feel you. I know you're upset about this. This is not what you know what I'm saying. This is not your cup of tea right here. This dude, but like I said, what he's doing is what a lot of preachers are doing behind closed doors. I mean, their power. The women are flocking to him, and you know, hey. You know, it's just like you gotta remember also is that in the black community, the preacher is like the pastor has always been a representative of the black community. You know, Reverend Martin Luther King, Reverend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Al Sharpton, Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know what I mean? Malcolm X was a minister. Elijah Muhammad was a minister. You know, that's a very high position in the black community. So these women look at these pastors like there's something special, something important. That's why you're not supposed to have only but one God, and that's the Most High. See what happens when you man worship? This is what happens. That's what happens. And these women, whether they admit it or not, they in some way, indirectly or directly, worship these pastors, and this is how you get these scandals.
Yeah. Well, I say I want to trade places with pastors or preachers because I always felt like this, man. I don't care if I never get a title in the church. I don't care about none of that stuff because it's about how you live. You gotta live right for God. It's not about titles because it makes you who you are. It's how you live because another thing about Brian, you never know. He might abuse the title pastor to try to get over. And he feels bulletproof and he thinks he could get away with anything. Because, I mean, this is not new for this guy. This guy always been involved in affairs with women. So he thinks he can abuse his power pastor and I can do whatever I want. He can't do that. And that's a danger in being a preacher or deacon or deaconess, an elder. But that doesn't mean that you going to do the right thing. You can abuse that title and think that you're above everybody, you better than everybody, you're looking down on people. Like you can't fall, but you can. And you see what's going on with Brian. I'm not happy about this, about him doing this, but it's just the hypocrisy. That's all it is. Because you can't be preaching about you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You held accountable that you practice and you walk the walk. The honesty is that you don't get caught in these scandals, these foolishness. But I'm not jealous of anyone who has titles in the church. I will not trade places with them. But it's all about humility. It was written, the last will be first.
And with that, that's a great way to segue out. Hey, it was a sermon today, and Brother Rashad got at him. Check out goodfellasreport.com.